All right, so let's look at question 9 on the chapter 11 questions. And we're told, suppose there is a temporary decrease in total factor productivity, and determine the implications of this for current macroeconomic variables. Okay, so we've got a decrease in z, and it's temporary, meaning it doesn't affect both z and z prime. So this is a great example to help us understand what's going on currently with this coronavirus pandemic. So that's caused a big increase in things like unemployment. So employment has gone way down as a result of this. We would expect real GDP to follow suit. So what's going on? That's really a decrease in our TFP, and it's a temporary one. So we have the same capital and labor in our economy that we had before. So nothing has really changed in particular. Maybe perhaps labor supply may have decreased because people don't want to potentially put themselves at risk of contracting the virus. So there may be a decrease in labor supply. But here I'm going to assume it's all basically labor demand that's going on. So we have the same capital and labor in our economy, but we can produce less stuff, right? So nothing else has changed. We're just less productive because basically parts of the economy are shut down. So if I own a restaurant, I'm less productive because I'm basically told people can't come to my restaurant and eat. So that is a temporary change in TFP, almost by definition. It's the best example I could come up with of one of these things is a shock to our economy. So what is this going to do? Well, it decreases the marginal product of labor, which is going to decrease labor demand. And as we'll see, that's going to shift our aggregate supply curve. So as per usual in these questions, I'm going to draw my 3 key graphs: employment, the labor market, I get equilibrium employment and the real wage. I've got investment demand over here. Investment on the horizontal axis, the real wage, investment demand. At the current real interest rate R1, we have some level of investment. And then I have my goods market, where I have real GDP and the real interest rate. Here we start in equilibrium. So what happens when we have a temporary decrease in TFP is labor demand is going to shift to the left. I don't want to hire as many workers because right now they're not as productive. So think of our current situation, and you own a restaurant. Your demand for labor has gone way down at every real wage. You want to hire fewer workers because they're simply not as productive right now. People aren't dining in our restaurant, so I don't need to hire as many servers. So we're going to get a decrease in labor at every real interest rate, which decreases our output supply. And so in the goods market, we get a decrease in Y and an increase in the real interest rate. Y does not go down. Does not go up, it goes down. And the real interest rate goes up. Now, a couple other small changes to keep track of. So when R goes up, when the real interest rate changes, I need to go back and finish everything in my labor market and the investment demand graph. So when R goes up, I get a slight increase in labor supply. Labor supply responds to the real interest rate in the same direction. So we get a small increase in labor supply, but we're still going to get a decrease in employment and a decrease in the real wage as a result of this. So employment is going to decrease. The real wage is going to decrease as a result of this. And if you look at the labor market That's basically what's happening now. The increase in the real interest rate also causes a decrease in investment. So investment is going down. And there we go. Pretty simple. As long as I understand how these different changes affect the labor market and investment demand, I can determine if they affect aggregate supply and in which direction, or if they affect aggregate demand in which direction. And then I can put all the pieces together and figure out how these changes affect the macroeconomy, as in this example.